call this first Davina's dialogue, but now we're 3, and I don't think you can call a dialogue if it's 3 people.
Trialogue.
It's like a trialogue now. So it was just like, I've never planned to do a video blog like this, but now I thought, in this case, because I was talking to Dara a couple of weeks back at the Irish Open, and I thought there's a story here to talk about. So now we're in Hamburg at the Eureka, and we happen to be together, and David is here as well. So I thought, let's make this a thing where we do like a weird interview in my little hotel room here.
Big hotel room.
In my little suite. And yeah, let's have a chat and then see what happens. And I actually thought the funny thing is, because now it's not like I like alliterations, so I thought Davina's dialogue would be good. Now it's ruined because we're 3, but it's Davina and Dara and Dave.
Oh yeah.
So we have a
3D.
Yeah, 3D. Right.
Yeah, I like it.
Right. So basically, what interested me was like, how did you start playing poker in Dublin, and how did it happen that you became a pro at 42?
Yeah, basically, it kind of all happened within 1 year. I had been just vaguely aware of poker because my brother was living with me at the time and he played some poker. Then I saw the Irish Open on TV, and I had been running, but my running career was starting to wind down, so I thought I'd need to do something after that. So I thought, okay, maybe I'll try poker. And
try sitting.
Try sitting instead, yeah. Sitting is much easier than running for 24 hours. So my original plan was like, it might take me 5 or 6 years to get good at poker, and then I can do it seriously. Because I said my running career was winding down, but it still went on for another year or 2 after that. But I knew that, say, by the time I got to 50, I wouldn't be able to do it anymore. So,
yeah.
So my brother taught me poker, and then I started playing the Fitz, and online. And online I was playing free rolls, and my first night playing I came second in a free roll with 8,000 people and $171. So I didn't have to deposit online, which is great.
Pro.
No, we're not quite that fast. And then, so I was playing fixed limit hold'em at the time, because my brother thought, well, if I teach him how to play fixed limit, he'll lose the money more slowly. And then,
yeah.
But I ran very well, I think. So I was a winning player from the start online. So I was making some money online, and then about a month later, I think in the middle of June that year, I went into the Fitz one Friday to play the Scalps tournament, which was basically a bounty tournament, with my brother. I ended up coming second in that tournament, so that was a very good, positive first experience. So then I was playing 3 nights a week in the Fitz, but I was still working as well, and playing online when I could, and doing very well. So the following January or February, I went up to play my first big tournament, the European Deep Stack, which was in Drogheda that year, and I ended up winning that. But I still didn't turn pro because I knew that.
How much was that for?
That was for 47,000.
Wow.
So I waited until I had a few more results, and over the next few months I had a deep run in a GUKPT, which is kind of like, that was the big tournament at the time. This is before the UKIPT, obviously.
Yeah.
And I final tabled the JP Masters in Dublin as well. So now I decided, right, now I'm turning pro. I went over to Vegas.
Nice.
So how did you start?
Well, I always played poker with my little brother back in the days, but we didn't know what we were doing, right? So it was like just 5 cards, and okay, now you put 2 away and take 2 new ones. We didn't really know the rules, but poker was always there somehow. But I actually learned it with my friends in New York in 2006. They like just at the kitchen table. They said, "Okay, this is Texas Hold'em. We got 2 cards." So I explained the whole thing. And then I always said, when I went back, I was living in England at the time. I was like, "I have to come back to New York to play poker with you guys." And I said, "No, you don't have to come to New York to play poker. You can play online on PokerStars." And I was like, "Oh, that's awesome." So it still took a year though until 2007. Then when I was living in Dublin at that time, I actually downloaded PokerStars and started playing, and then thought this is really interesting. And then I immediately thought you can learn it and then get better. And so I found like some guy on Facebook a friend of mine. He's still a friend of mine. Nothing ever happened there, just like a friend. But he started flirting with me, and I said, "Hey, you play poker? Can you take me to a poker tournament and show me how that works?" Okay. Not a date. So it was quite funny. And then he took me to the Cool Hand Luke's. That was like the
that was just around the corner from the place.
yeah, exactly. So that was basically the first one where I sat down, and it was just for 4 hours sitting behind this Italian guy playing the tournament, and he showed every single hand. He made sure I could see it, and I was just fascinated. And I was like, from now on, I want to do it. And then every Sunday at the Fitz, they had this €30 self-dealt tournament.
Yeah.
So every Sunday I sat there and was scared out of, scared of my head, because everybody was staring at me. It was I just felt so out of place. There were 60 guys in their tracksuits and like 3 women, and 2 of them
Also in their tracksuits.
yeah, and 2 of them were older, like 3 times my age or something. Not 3 times, but I was the only young woman playing usually, and that was very scary. But that's where I started. And everything just happened in a way that everything fell into place because I really wanted to work for PokerStars. I was immediately, it was I didn't have the thought of becoming a poker pro.
Okay.
It was always just, I want to work in that industry.
Okay.
And what was your background in terms of college, or did you come to Dublin for a particular job? Or?
No, I'm a video producer. It's really it's a long story in the end, because I'm a video producer by trade, and I started my own business after I finished in Germany, but that wasn't successful, and so I had to decide what to do, and then I decided to just start from scratch, and I gave everything away I owned, moved to England, worked as a live-in carer, and then I moved after a year to Dublin. Because it was just in the middle of the Celtic Tiger, and then there was jobs everywhere, and didn't get anything in Germany, so I just okay, let's go to Dublin, why not? And then it took a week, I had a job, and then that was in finance, and then I was working at Yahoo when I started playing poker.
Okay.
It was all very random.
And what were your early experiences of the Fitz or Cool Hand Luke's? Like you said that you got quite scared at times, or you were intimidated. Do you have a story of or a situation you got into that was quite?
It was at the Cool Hand Luke's, one of the first things that I didn't think it was that male dominated. That was really one of those things that I wasn't aware of that. So when I stood there, dressed in black like almost always, just stood at the corner and somebody tried to order drinks with me. So that was one of the.
I got that too.
Yeah, you can't be a poker player.
well, I used to wear a suit back at the time, so I used to think I was actually a waiter.
Yeah, so I'm just a random woman standing around, so can't be a poker player, so get me a drink. So that was one of the first ones there. That was a bit weird. And then, the thing is just the general situation of sitting at the table and having 8 guys stare at you and wait for you to do something. That was super intimidating. So that alone, just the poker in general, and then everybody started trying to do the little flirty thing, but the Dubliners don't really do that very
careful.
It's very
She said to 2 Dubliners.
those 2 Dubliners. I'm in my hotel room right now. And I was no, so it was always very weird because they tried to needle me a bit and try and get reactions out of me, and then I was just scared already. So that was just weird. And one day it was one guy from. It wasn't a scary story. I said he was a nice guy, but it was a bit weird. So I busted the €30 self-dealt. I think 11th, and that was my best result I ever had. It was oh my god, so close before the money. And then there was this older guy. Bald. You probably know him. It's one of.
Sure we do.
He was at the Irish Openers when I introduced myself again and said.
Is he very, very old?
He's quite old. I'm not sure though.
Is he big, small?
Small.
Paddy Hicks? We're probably talking about Paddy Hicks. Okay.
I don't know. So a really nice guy. But,
very nice guy, yeah. Paddy's
so he was with me at the table, and he said, "Do you want to continue playing?" And I said, "Well, I just busted this." And I said, "Yeah, but there's a €40 rebuy after this. Do you want to play that?" And I was like, "Ooh, this is strange." So I was "Why is this guy asking me that?" And then he said, "Come on, I'll buy you in. We can play the €40." And I was like, I didn't have €40. So for me that was amazing. And I was like, no, I can't do that. He said, that's you play it and we do 50-50, whatever you win.
Oh, fair play.
Really nice. So I sat down in the 40 and I got like all nervous again because that was then downstairs where the real people sat and played.
Yes, 40 for the really big game on a Sunday.
Yeah.
That's also like the high roller, also as the Sunday high roller.
That's also where the cash is in the pits.
Yeah, exactly. So I felt like now I'm sitting where the actual poker players were sitting, and then at some point I lost my stack, and then he made a rebuy for me as well, and I was like, oh my god, now that man has like spent 80 euros like for me, you know. And then what happened though is I actually made the final table. We moved back upstairs.
Great.
And
how many would have played this tournament? So like, are you in the money now, or maybe 6 paid or 5 paid or something?
It was something like 5 paid,
Yeah.
and I actually cashed. I think I came third, so I made like 200 euros, and it was the craziest thing. And then he actually even drove me home to Flanthout, and like was like, that's it. Really
That's
nice
really
thing.
nice. Yeah.
So I was more intimidated by the situation because I was like, you know, what is this now? Or why is this person so nice? Because you always think there's something dodgy. But he just really thought, let's let this girl play one more tournament. It was really nice.
He must have played well, or he saw that.
I think he just saw I was just excited to get
so you were really enjoying it?
Yeah,
most poker players would be enjoying it.
And given how intimidating it was, like how come you kept going back?
It's just growth and like challenge, I think.
Yeah.
Because I just like putting myself into a lot of situations where, where I do stuff that I'm not usually not doing, like this. This is completely like just a random idea I had, and I thought, why not give it a shot and do it? And this is getting myself out of my comfort zone. That's something I do on a regular basis, like playing with a band on stage, and I'm scared of like stage fright, and I'm just like, okay, no, I'll go in the band and go on the stage. Why not? Just like do that. And poker does that every single time. And the weird thing is, I do that even nowadays. When I sit down at the table the first time, I mess something up. I do something really stupid. So, and I don't do that on purpose, but I think it's just I sit down and I do something. I put the wrong chip in, or I don't know, something. And it's so weird. So I'm suddenly noticing there's nervousness still there. So I'm still outside my comfort zone somehow. But then once I sit and once I've settled in, it's fine. But it's like, this first moment, I still have this.
Yeah.
Do you ever get any of that even in the early days? Like, I remember you saying your first time in the Fits, and you played a little online and you were one tabling or whatever, and I guess you're there in your room and you get your 30-second and a beat.
No, I was 4 tabling from the start.
You were 4 tabling from the start, okay. But when you said, which is interesting because the pace of live is obviously a lot slower, you found just because there's so much going on and the dealer's talking and people are chatting, that suddenly it's always on you.
Well, like the first time I went to play, I played 1 or 2 no limit free rolls online, but I played mainly limit, so I wasn't even sure how no limit worked, because when I played the free rolls I just kind of thought, well, this is a good hand, I'll raise a certain amount.
Yeah, and you're just clicking.
Just clicking basically. But but the first time I played, I remember sitting down at the table and I was a little bit nervous because it was my first time. The main thing I was focused on was like, I won't know what to do with the chips, I won't know what to do with the cards, I won't know when it's my turn to act, I won't know how much I'm allowed to bet, all this stuff. So I sit down and the first hand is dealt, and let's say I'm in mid position, and it seemed to me that the cards were dealt, and I was just thinking like, okay, these are chips, and then suddenly the action was on me. I was like, what, the action's on me already? And everything was so fast, and like people were really impatient, so that when the action came to you, if you didn't fold immediately, people were like tapping the table. So it all seemed very, very unfriendly, and people obviously knew I was new as well, because it was the first time I'd ever been there, so they hadn't seen me there before. So they were very unwelcoming, and it was a very unpleasant atmosphere. But I'm very thick-skinned, so that was fine by me. But I often think that like people who are more easily intimidated, there must be a lot of those who've gone to a pub club once in their life and never come back.
Yeah, and just were put off by maybe. I guess it's a strange one, because you would think poker players, particularly a community of them, would want new blood. Because generally the newer players are going to be weaker. That's how they might actually win a little bit of money in the game. Whereas you almost have this kind of pride, like, well, I play and I know how to play, and if you don't know how to play, you're bothering me.
Yeah, you're an invader in their world, in their next cozy little world, where they see the same people every week, and they have whatever interactions they have with them, and then this new person come in and, we don't like him because he's new. And it was like, the other thing I remember is they seemed there are certain things they use to try and, remind you that you're new, which is if you're not acting fast. And the other thing was the string bet. They all seem to be incredibly focused on the string bet. All your betting actions were scrutinised carefully to see that you put all the chips in at the same time. Otherwise, half the table went string bet.
So they were just like, the alarm went off.
So I know something. I want to just talk about it right now. String bet.
Yeah.
And I think even the dealers, to be honest, weren't particularly friendly because I guess they knew the regulars, so they had like a banter with the regulars, and then they kind of just looked at
We
you.
didn't have the dealers in the
You were
self-deal.
self-dealt.
But that was another thing because I couldn't deal. But I could get away with that because I was the girl. So
Yeah.
I was just, I can't do it. Sorry.
Well, we had it in my club about 2 weeks ago. We had a self-dealt game because obviously I didn't pay for dealers because it was for a fundraiser. And yeah, you could see half the table. And all experienced poker players were like, I don't know how to deal. No one knew how to handle the cards.
Well, that's one thing. And then as soon as there's like a side pot or something, I just get like, no, I can't deal with this.
Yeah.
I could do that thing. Actually,
So we had different duties.
At one point, turned out Andy Black was dealing for us, and Andy's a really good dealer because he did it actually. He's actually done it properly, but he didn't want to be dealing with the side pots and chips. So I did all that stuff because I can do that. It's the actual manual dealing with the cards and the shuffle.
Yeah, and shuffle and ribbon and stuff. Yeah.